Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all are having a great day out there. My name's Mole. I'm back with another rare screen share because there's a couple things here I want to show you, a few clips here. And this video kind of ties into what we were talking about last night as how, guys, it is getting more and more blatantly obvious what is happening behind the scenes versus what they are actually telling us. We are getting extremely close, guys. All I ever ask is if you do like talking about XRP, XLM, digital assets, and more, you know what to do. Go ahead and drop an X in the comment section below. Smash that like button so we know, and of course share this content far and wide. Let others know what is truly happening here in this digital revolution. Before I get into this, guys, I want to talk about this. Just hint in here, billionaire Mark Cuban says Gary Gensler and the SEC are trying to destroy the crypto industry. So not a real shocker there, right? We all know and understand this. But this is very important that we have big names like Mark Cuban, who has been pro-crypto for a long time and is all for the digital revolution, but actually standing up and saying something. We need more individuals coming out and saying things like this. This is how Gary Gensler and the SEC are trying to destroy the crypto industry. They make it impossible to comply with registration rules. Now, since the SEC decided to litigate to regulate rather than make any effort to increase compliance, if I get an investment opportunity that is going to release a token, it's now a no for me. Not because the company itself, rather because the SEC will not allow it to operate. The cost in time and legal fees to attempt to register and comply make it impossible to realistically operate. And if you don't try to register and operate outside the US, I don't want to be involved. He says they have created a destructive environment that could easily be remedied in a way that would increase compliance dramatically and actually protect investors. Wouldn't that be beautiful? The crypto industry wants a way to register and comply. It wants a way to keep the speculative noise out. Instead, the SEC makes it so expensive, time-consuming, and difficult for those who want to comply that the junk tokens are side by side with the real companies, and investors have no way to know what is garbage and what is real. This is the legacy of Gary Gensler. He has made it impossible for good companies to do the right thing. Just look at the actual numbers of operating companies that have successfully registered their tokens with the SEC in the USA and successfully continue to operate. Are there any at all? And guys, when he wrote this and put this out, what really spoke volumes to me is this paragraph right here. Instead, the SEC makes it so expensive, time-consuming, so forth, and difficult for those that want to comply, that the junk tokens, the memes, the pump and dumps, all the trash out there are side by side with real companies. To me, like, as soon as I read this, guys, thought of Ripple and all the BS that we've been through. And so very nice stuff. You know, obviously we need more of this, but it is becoming very obvious because he went on, you know, essentially yesterday, he's been on a rant for the past 24 hours about this, basically saying if Joe Biden loses, it will be a big reason. This will be a big reason, Gary Gensler and the SEC, because they're trying to stifle innovation out of the U.S., right? Stop innovation from happening, killing business, killing entrepreneurs' dreams that want to be in the blockchain sector. And quite frankly, Joe Biden and this administration just does not understand it. And I'm not trying to get political here, guys, but I will say over the past week, it has become very obvious what side is going to be pro crypto going forward and what side is not. Guys, I wanted to touch on this once more. I put this out in a video yesterday because in the comments section, some people said this is old news. This absolutely is not old news. Now, what is old news is we know that JP Morgan has been working with BlackRock. We know that they've been working at JP Morgan to advance their departments that work in the blockchain sector to an extent. But this part here, buying spot Bitcoin ETFs, this was a bomb that just recently came out. So very important that we understand the difference here, that not only are they lying to us in a sense that they're working and partnering with the biggest and best like BlackRock out there to get into the blockchain space, right, into the crypto space, but they are actually actively buying. They're buying. And I would assume, if they're buying, it's going to be a lot. Now, Chad Steingraber says, behind the scenes, they are preparing. Check this out. Ripple, or this is actually Chad Steingraber reposted this. I've reposted it. Follow me at moltmoney from Bank XRP. Ripple Reese Merrick discussing Medico, HSBC, tokenized gold, and real estate. Listen to this, guys. Let's start this over real quick.
Ripple acquired a company called Medico, Swiss-based custody solution who are serving, tier one banks globally. And the reason why is that a lot of these banks and large FIs are looking at how they can tokenize real world assets, but essentially don't have the tech behind it or don't have the capability to build or want to build to be able to actually have a custody solution that enables that safety for their customers. So HSBC is one example, largest bullion provider globally. They are now digitizing gold, and it's just to a subset of their customer base at the moment. But if a player like HSBC is coming into the market, tokenizing gold, as well as real estate and other kind of assets, then, on the front of it, one side they're saying, crypto, this, that, and the other. And it's clear that behind the scenes, as I mentioned earlier, they're looking at strategies, looking at the market opportunity, and actually believe that it's not just hype, that it's happening.
And that's just the thing, guys. Ripple is not just hype. There's a lot of hype and noise out there, and if you're new to this market, expect that, right? But when people say that Ripple and XRP is only hype, guys, I need to do a video, I think, where I discuss how big HSBC is and SBI and some of these other big banks, how big they are and how closely they are working with Ripple. I mean, this is a fact. This isn't just speculation. This is fact. They're working with them. They're 100% connected. This is 100% happening. And we are in the beginning stages, as I just showed you yesterday with SBI, right? Going live with the XRPL. We're in the beginning stages of them implementing, right? We've had the pilot stages, we've had all the testing done, we've had all this stuff. Now we are starting to see implementation. And guys, when we have this bull run happen later this year, we're not going to just see a speculative bull run. I believe we're going to start seeing and hearing more about the use case and utility actually happening for once. Now, this is beautiful. This came out of XRP Las Vegas. Somehow just popped up for me, but less than 1% of 1% of the population, this is a direct quote, is yet to be aware of XRP, and it is going to be inevitably and through default the global reserve currency. Huge statement. Listen here.
But if you are able to get on a computer and get on a phone and get into XRP, that's something less than 1% of 1% of the population is yet to be aware of. But if you're in XRP, you probably already know where this is going, and it is going to become inevitably and through default the global reserve currency.
That's Patrick Riley. Some of you may already know him. He is he has product on the XRPL, and this is just the thing, guys. For those of us that are on the internet every day searching and researching and are passionate about this, learning more about crypto every single day, and the light bulb has already came on for XRP, we hear about this stuff every day, so we think that it's well known. It's not. 1% of 1% is nothing. And so we are the pioneers. We are the ones that are going to make the riches off this game, in my personal opinion. Obviously not financial advice, but every indicator shows the direction we are going is going to be extremely lucrative for us all. Now, I like this. XRP Drops put this out. This is one of the messages Brad Garlinghouse shared with his own kids. And what it is NVIDIA CEO, I wish for you all ample doses of pain and suffering. The first clip was taken during a lecture by founder of NVIDIA to Stanford students. The second clip shows Brad Garlinghouse explanation of why he sent the first clip to his children. And this is hit home for me because it's so freaking true, and I want to play it for you here.
I think one of my great advantages is that I have very low expectations, and I mean that. Most of the Stanford graduates have very high expectations. You deserve to have high expectations because you came from a great school. You were very successful. You're at the top of your class. Obviously, you were able to pay for tuition, and then you're graduating from one of the finest institutions on the planet. You're surrounded by other kids that are just incredible. You naturally have very high expectations. People with very high expectations have very low resilience. And unfortunately, resilience matters in success. I don't know how to teach it to you except for I hope suffering happens to you. And I was fortunate that I grew up with my parents providing a condition for us to be successful on the one hand, but there were plenty of opportunities for setbacks and suffering. And to this day, I use the phrase pain and suffering inside our company with great glee. And I mean that. Boy, this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. And I mean that in a happy way, because you want to refine the character of your company. You want greatness out of them. And greatness is not intelligence. Greatness comes from character, and character is informed out of smart people. It's formed out of people who suffered. And so that's it. And so if I could wish upon you, I don't know how to do it. For all of you Stanford students, I wish upon you ample doses of pain and suffering.
TED Talks, books, courses, just personal development things that you've done that you feel like were like asymmetric levers in your personal growth that you think everyone should just either read or watch right now?
Oh, that's a really good one. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, this is a micro example, so it's imperfect. And I kind of alluded to it earlier. The CEO of NVIDIA gave a talk at Stanford. It got some fame, at least in the viral loop, ran for a minute. And I don't know. I think his name is Jensen Huang.
Jensen Huang, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know him. I listened to this guy, and I actually sent it to my kids. Which, by the way, that's the highest praise I can give, right? Like, this is something I want my kids to pay attention to.
Wow, yeah.
And, his message was one of like, I wish pain upon you. I wish friction upon you. It was kind of like, and I agree with him that particularly a generation that has been gifted and had immense opportunities, like, how much friction have they really had? Do they have the grit? Because even as you're describing the people not taking risk and because they're afraid of rejection, people who have grit are less afraid of failure. They understand that okay, yeah, I'm gonna run into some shit, and that's okay. Because it's not about how many times you get knocked down; it's about how many times you get up.
Yes.
And you got to keep getting up. And if you've never been knocked down, those first couple times, and I say this partly as a parent, I've seen my kids get knocked down once or twice. And, those first couple times, it's, that they've had pretty good lives.
It's a big shock.
Yeah. And, but I'm thrilled in the same way that he was giving these, the CEO of NVIDIA was giving these Stanford students his counsel. I think it was super powerful.
Now, guys, maybe that clip hit home for you. Maybe it didn't. What I will say is it 100% did for me. And I want to share real quickly a personal story with you because, see, when I was a young man, the 08 recession hit, right? And I was fresh out of college, could not find a job. Eventually did find a job, but it was less than ideal situation for a number of years, really. I had to grind. I had to do a lot of work that I really didn't necessarily want to do, but I do believe that made me stronger. Now, here I am, and this, guys, is not my professional job, right? I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I do plan to actually in the future, maybe even next year. But what I will say is right now my professional job is I teach young adults, and a lot of these young adults adults actually are getting paid to go to training. And I don't want to rag on the generation too much, but I will say a lot of them, I do suspect, take a lot of it for granted. Now, there's definitely some gems out there, guys, that really want to work hard and do a good job. And I will say the majority of people want to do a good job, right? But it does appear to me that this generation coming up does have it a lot easier and just naturally it's not even their fault, really. It makes them a little bit softer. That is just the truth. And so a lot of times, oftentimes, we have to go through pain and suffering to get out to on the other side much better and stronger. What I'll say, as many of you know, I lost my brother. He took his life last year. It was hard, guys, and I haven't disclosed this publicly, but I will now. When he took his life afterwards, I started drinking a pretty fair amount, more than I should, for sure. And I've since stopped. I was drinking to kind of numb myself, to numb the pain. But now, guys, I'm past that. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling good, and understanding life is just about obstacles. It's about getting through the speed bumps, right? And that's exactly what the SEC has been for Ripple. And Brad Garlinghouse couldn't have said it better recently when he talked about, when we take a look back, 5, 10, 15 years from now, we're going to say, man, that was a dark time. That sucked. But it was a very small moment, dark moment in history, and now look where we are. We know that the capital, the money is coming to this industry. We know the biggest and best will be the winners. Ripple is 100% one of them. I've never been more confident on the direction on where Ripple and more specifically XRP is going. I do believe this is 100% a 100x over time. But guys, we gotta get through the hard times to enjoy the good times. That's all I got for you for now. If you don't mind clicking that like button, clicking that subscribe button, share the video. We'll see y'all in the next one.